David D said something about on X. He said something about a British citizen that served for a couple of years, I believe, and then I guess his contract was up, so he decided to go home, and then he went to the border, and I guess paperwork was messed up, and then they considered him AWOL, and they sent him to punishment battalion, I believe. Now, like I said, I've heard this from secondhand sources, so I'm not too sure about that. But yeah. I know there was a big outcry about it, though. I know a lot of people were online on social media, you know, pressuring the government to give this guy,
The,
get
the
this guy out of there.
the thing is, right, is it's like for me, like Ukraine is my home, right? I live here, I love being here, right? But some of these guys, they're coming over as volunteers, right? And the way I
Mm-hmm.
see it, right, is if they want to do a month, they do a month. As long as they do some work, I don't care. Let them leave. If they don't want to be here, don't be here. And don't get me wrong, when this law came in with the 6 month thing, like I completely disagreed with it straight away because it's like sometimes like these foreigners come over, they go to the front once and they decide it's not for them, right? You can't keep like you can't force him out to the front. So what is he then? At that point then you can't not pay him. Like you can't it, you can't really arrest him because after 6 months he's leaving anyway. So you can't really do anything with these people. All you're
Mm-hmm.
doing, in my opinion, is wasting time, resources, and money on these guys. Like I do think like the contracts where it was there, like if you sign it and you want to leave, that like you can leave whenever you want. Because I've met a lot of guys that have come over and they've been like, and they get to like the unit and the unit is like a combat ready unit. So they've done like 3-4 weeks worth of training. And then it's like, right, you're going to the front. And they're like, whoa, actually, I don't want to go. It's like, right, okay, we'll leave then. But instead, because they can't get rid of them, if they go over the 2 month point, they can't get rid of them. So it's like, right, okay, well, what can we do with you? So, like, you can't make them drive a car because, like, they're not going to go to the front with the car. Like,
Mm-hmm.
can't make them a chef because, like, the Ukrainians are already filling that role. So it's there, like, well, what the
Mm-hmm.
fuck do you do with them? Like, it's just, at that point, like, as I say, like, nobody knows what to do with them. So a lot of them get left in safe houses collecting a monthly wage, doing fuck all.
Yeah, they're a combat liability to the unit at that point. If they don't have the dedication, if they don't have like the purpose of being there, and they don't want to do the job, then they're just dead weight, and it doesn't do any good to keep them.
And don't get me
And
wrong. Like, I take my hat off to anybody that turns up. Like, if you turn up, fair play. Like, at least you fucking
mm-hmm.
turned up. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But at that point, it's like, I know one guy. Um, he's 21 or 22. No, younger. I think he's like 19 or 20. Um, and he's just got to his unit. Like I met him in Odessa. He's just got to his unit, and already he doesn't want to go to the front. He's finished training, and now he's there. Like, I don't want to go to the front, and I don't know what to do. I'm there like, you need to be very, very honest and like just tell him like you want to leave. Um, but it's like if you leave, like you're probably going to get put down as AWOL or like Susacha, and you're not going to be allowed back in the country. So you need to make a decision on what you actually want to do. Um, but like this guy, right? He is literally a civilian, like through and through. He should not. Personally, as a commander, I would have took one look at him and gone, "There's no way. He needs a job behind a desk." Like he's 4 foot fuck all. Right? There's literally nothing. There's no height to him. There's like no muscle to him. Like he's literally like he's built like a fucking McDonald's paper straw for fuck's sake. Like he is not an assault team like member. Like he should not be a part of that team. Like he couldn't lift up the bombs on the mortar either. It was just there like, well, what can he do then? Like he wants to help, he wants to do something. I don't know what,
Mm-hmm.
like just put him in stores like where he hands out ammo and does all the books and stuff like that. Like I don't fucking know. But
Well, you know this, Fuzzy. A lot of these guys come over here with the misconception about how this war is going to be, or you have prior service guys that served in Iraq or Afghanistan, and they have their combat experiences from back then, and they believe that they're going to be ready for this. And then when they come here and they see how much firepower and devastation that the Russians can bring down on them in a short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some of these guys were sitting in Kandahar, you know, having 60 millimeter mortars shot at the chow hole, you know, once or twice a night or something, and think that was a big deal. When they get here and they got drones flying all around their head, they got multiple launch rocket systems firing cluster munitions at them, they got artillery shells flying like they wouldn't believe. It's a reality check for these guys. And they're like, well, hell, this isn't what I expected it to be. And you know, like, yeah.
And this is what I mean. It's like, don't get me wrong. Like, yes, some of it is a reality check and stuff like that. But the way I see it, at least they fucking turned up and they went and they tried. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I understand. Like, don't get me wrong. I never ever, and I'm not going to sit there and make it out as if I did or hint or like be like a spook about it. I never ever went near Iraq or Afghanistan. I have never been near the Middle East, like ever in my life. But I've met some guys that have out here. You know, they served in the same regiment that I was in the army, you know, and they come here and they do very, very well. But you get the other extreme as well, where it's like, I don't know, an FPV flies at them for the first time, and that's enough. Like, that's it. Like, that's enough. Like, they can deal with a gunfight, but the minute you've got a fucking, like, an IED with wings, like, that's it for them. Like, they want no part of that. Which is fair enough. It's not everybody's cup of tea. Do you know what I mean? Like, nobody really likes that every day. So it's like, right, well, what do you do with him now then? It's been 2 months. We can't just get rid of him. So what do we do? Well, let's find him a job somewhere else then. And these guys ended up, it's like, not all of them, but some of them end up being left like in team houses and stuff like that, just like collecting a wage. And it's like, just let him go. And they're like, we can't let him go. So you fucking can, bro. Like, can just literally just like let him walk over the border and don't report him AWOL until he's like actually told you he's over the border. That's what I would do. It's probably why I'm like, I could never actually be like a battalion commander, because if somebody come over to me, right, a foreigner, and said, I don't like this, I'm very, very scared and I want to leave, I'm like, fair enough, mate, you've got fucking 2 days, get to Poland. Like, see you later, mate. Like, I don't know, mate. Like,
yeah, and I'll tell you one thing. I totally agree with you on this. If they spent the money and the effort to come over here, you know, they did a good thing, and they should be recognized for that. They shouldn't be looked at as cowards. You know, just to step over that border, man. Even as a tourist,
yeah,
you know, you're taking a chance, and you know, especially joining the army.
Like, when was the last sorry to interrupt you again, mate, but like, I get so fucking annoyed, right, when people sit there and go, "You're a fucking coward," to like these people, and I'm just sat there like, how is he a coward? You spent 3 months in Kyiv getting bombed in Kyiv. Now he's here getting bombed here. He's decided he's had enough. Like, you know, when we go on vacation or like take leave or whatever, it's not like we're away from, like, yes, we're away from the front, but I shit you not, like, a few months, well, when was it? Fuck knows. Last time I was in Odessa, right, I had a fucking Shaheed land 100 meters away into another apartment building. I shit you not, I had a 60 kilo cane corso headbutt me. I had my missus crawl underneath me, and I'm sat there like, my whole room is orange, you know, and I'm like, we'll go in the hallway then, like, fuck off, you know, like, but it's not for everybody, and you can't sit there and call people a coward. Like, if they come here, fucking fair play to them, because you can die any minute. A cruise missile can do me now. It can do you. It can do Rick. It can do anybody that's currently in Ukraine. It don't matter. Like, you can blink and it's done. And it just annoys me when people sit there and call people cowards. I think the worst word for it is when people get called a pussy. That fucking infuriates me, because it's like, is he? Yeah, cool, man. Yeah. Get sound. It's just like, well, you go fucking do it then. Oh, no. Well, shut up.
Yeah, you know, right. You're right about that. Because shit, there'd be times when I'm training with the battle brigades and we're close and we're getting fucking hammered down there, man. Or there's shit pretty close. Then I come back here to the second line. That's what I call it, my second line. And I'm sitting here trying to, after spending 7, 8, 9 days, or whatever, how many days training these guys, just trying to get some sleep. And the next thing you hear is, and then you're getting smashed. You know what I'm saying? Or even worse, Ishglanders hitting and all kinds of shit. There's no like safe area, man. There's no like area where like you could just take some R&R and just chill. Like there's always a chance of everything. You know what I'm saying? So like, I totally get you on that point, 100% with that.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. Like I think. For me, I feel like the lower, like people that aren't commissioned officers, whether it's Ukrainians, foreigners, whatever, they all need more protection from the current laws because they're still very Soviet. And don't get me wrong, like I understand at the moment trying to pass laws and all this bollocks. It like during wartime, it's fucking hard work, right? And it is hard. Like you've got so much shit going on. It's like, right, we ain't got time for that. But, there's times where it's like, but how have you got time to make this rule up, but yet not that rule to help the little guy out? It just doesn't make any sense to me. One thing that is really, really fucking grinding my gears at the moment is like Rick went to the protest the other day, that they're trying to protect the officers more. Is they're like, they don't need any more protection. The guys that are like the lower ranks need the protection because it's like if they refuse an order and like it's like a valid reason to refuse it because it's like stupid or unlawful for whatever reason, they need to be able to be protected by the laws within Ukraine to not follow that order, because they can, if they refuse to follow the order, not only do they get punished for not following the order, but if they do go and follow the order, they then get punished for following an unlawful order. So like,
no, I don't think they will be punished for that.
It's a damn if you do, damn if you don't, right?
In some aspects, yeah, like, don't get me wrong, like it's like what I'm saying is like it's how it feels as well, because it's like there's been times where like people have gone not doing that and then they get punished and then they go and do it and they go, why the fuck are you doing that? You fucking told me to, mate. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like
so
help me.
To come back to that topic, yeah, I don't know if you were guys listening before the stream, before you joined, sorry. But I was talking, I was translating the Sternenko's video about this law, about the protests that I went to, because he described it so well that I won't be able to describe it as well as he did. So, I just translated his video. And basically, right now there's a crisis, how he calls it, the crisis of injustice in the army, where a soldier has no rights and no protection, like no lawful protection. We have ombudsman appointed 7 months ago, and the law to actually give that ombudsman the regulations to work, the basically the instructions and stuff and legal right to work is being blocked in the parliament for the half a year. So it's so ridiculous. We have the person who is supposed to protect the rights of the soldiers and really help them, deal with such unlawful situations. This person cannot work for half a year now, just because that law has been blocked in the parliament. And parliament, like these high-ranking commanders, I'm talking about the very tops, because it's not really handy for them to have this ombudsman who's gonna be just telling them that some of their subordinate commanders did not do the right thing, send in soldier on this or that mission. And it's very handy to instead increase the punishment severity, like, for example, that draft law that they were trying to push and against which we went to the Maidan, it's that law. It was like basically for disobedience of the order of your commander, you with no exceptions are going to be prosecuted for from 5 to 10 years. No exceptions. So you disobey the order, 5 years time minimum. So this is just ridiculous. No rights. It's like basically right now soldiers have no rights, and to be honest, the low-ranking officers also don't have that many rights. And here we're, well, you know, guys, I want to ask you, Bradley, if you know the name, probably Fuzzy knows him, Sodol. Have you ever heard about the General Sodol guy?
You're talking about the current commander of Ukraine Marine Corps, right?
Yeah,
Sodol?
he was. Now he
Yeah,
was.
no, 'cause I during the start of the war, I was one of his advisors. So yeah, I definitely know who he is.
Okay, so you know the character, right?
I got the picture to prove it too.
You want to send it to me?
I can send you it.
Are you ready
Yeah, I
to
can send you-
testify? Do you have a Bible
can te-
next to you?
I don't know. Do I have any rights?
You probably don't. You probably don't, but I'm just joking, you know, because Bogdan Krotevich, the former chief of staff of Azov brigade, was trying to issue an investigation on that guy, and he said that that general alone killed many more soldiers than any Russian general did, many more Ukrainian soldiers than any Russian general did, because that guy didn't care, and I'm sure right now he also doesn't care about the personnel. Yes, he resigned, went on the pension, no prosecutions, nothing, no accountability, but he was sending Marines in stupid, unplanned attacks, just like take a column, you know, form a column just like Russians in the beginning of the full-scale invasion. Form a column and send it to the enemy position, being totally destroyed by FPVs and mortars. And unfortunately, so many Marines were just sent on those few suicidal missions. I remember one was done under Novodonetsk. Remember Novodonetsk in it was close to Velika Novosilka in Donetsk Oblast, close to Zaporizhia Oblast. During the counteroffensive, that shit was done, or like when the position is being lost because Russians were pushing, instead of trying to build up the defense, send the Marines to attack that position to take it back. Yeah, so that shit was done too many times, but that
And
guy,
that's Soviet bullshit again. If there's a problem, don't
Yeah.
keep throwing bodies at it. Think about it.
the problem is, you know, at some point, that's what soldiers tell me. Some of the friends, they tell me that, you know, when Zaluzhny was there, it was not that bad. This is why Bogdan Krotevich, when he is like publicly accusing Sodol in such actions, he's also saying that Syrsky must resign. That's his words and his opinion. And he says that this system is like, the Soviet system is thriving after now, like before that, it was under, you know, like not so popular. Yeah, it was present there, but it was still under Zaluzhny's command. It was not encouraged. Now it's unfortunately encouraged, and I don't think I agree with Bogdan Krotevich completely, and I think it's not only Syrsky. Yeah, he might be a typical general of this type, you know, but the problem is, it's the whole system. If we change him for some adequate guy, I'm not saying that he's inadequate, but soldiers are telling me this. Some of the soldiers are telling me that, well, they are only soldiers, right? And what do they know about the strategic command and all of that? But the problem is they see the consequences of that. And they say that if we... No, they don't say. I think that if we change it for some adequate guy, like it was with Mikhailo Drapati, the system is already like it's more than just one person. The system has so many of the generals and colonels who are like-minded and who just will sabotage all the commands of the, like back in the time it was Mikhailo Drapati, so he just resigned because he says my orders are being disobeyed and I just cannot do anything with this. So as a man of honor, I will just resign, and because I failed to rebuild the system. The system is fighting back, and the problem is it's not that much about the leaders, but about the whole teams, about the whole big teams. And unfortunately, that is also being sabotaged. If the big, when Mikhailo Drapati was appointed, what I was reading in the news that he was not led to bring his team, and this is why it led to his resign later. This is why, fighting the system with just personalities is well, basically impossible. And you need like the whole other team, and not just the team, but also the power given to that team to resign some of the top commanders, even, not resign, but fire them, replace them with the members of your team, and build up the system from the very top. Unfortunately, there's no such intent from the political leadership right now to place such teams, to give them the power, to give them the tools to do that. So there's a problem with that. I would like to listen what you think about it, but I need to mention a few donations. What's needed? So guys, the thing I was talking about, the system, and the sabotage, when the new and very motivated commander steps in and the whole team underneath him is not being changed. And what are your thoughts on that?
I think, first off, going back to your question about the ombudsman.
About what?
I think it's good. Ombudsman.
Ombudsman.
Yeah, there needs to be a, like in the United States military, for instance. Let's say you get charged with a crime in the military. You're appointed a defense attorney. You have a prosecutor. You have the right to a trial, so you go to trial. You're not just proven guilty right away. You have the right to defend yourself. I think that needs to be done here in Ukraine. And I know that the legal system in Ukraine is already strained as it is, but these soldiers need to have some kind of, not just protection, but rights to stress their case. If they're in a combat condition and they don't accept an order because it's a high risk of death or injury, or even just a bad decision made on the command, like they have to have the right to testify against that before, they're put on the stake. That's something that I definitely agree with. And as for the commanders, I really stick away from that topic.
Understandable.
Of course. Yeah. But I will say this, I think that in any military, commander is held responsible for his actions. And if you do not hold commanders responsible for their actions, let's say we send a whole rota company on a storm mission, and we're sending them up against a battalion or a brigade just to try to retake a kilometer of ground, and we lose the entire company, based off a botched mission. That should have some kind of legal consequences to it, because that's loss of personnel, loss of vital equipment, and those kind of things. And the thing is, this happens a lot of times and there's no consequence to it.
Yeah.
So these commanders just say, okay, well, too bad. I'll just wait for the replacements to come in and then we'll try round two. Well, and in any military in the West, if you pulled that kind of nonsense, you'd be facing a court martial. It would be anything from dereliction of duty to incompetence of command. You would have your command stripped from you. They'd pull you away, and then there might be criminal repercussions for those kind of actions.
And it's not possible in Ukraine. Nothing like this is not possible here because it's not
I understand that.
legally regulated. Like, commanders are not accountable. So basically they just can do whatever they want and just wait for
What I'm saying,
replacement, as you say.
What I'm saying is, Rick, if they were held accountable, then when they were sitting there with their battalion or brigade staff planning an operation, they'd be a lot more careful
Yeah.
about the things that they do.
Yeah.
They would have to adjust to the system, and they'd have to like measure risk versus reward. They would have to like put these guys' lives and their safety in the forefront. They would have to like you get what I'm saying.
And luckily we have good commanders, and a lot of them are famous for being actually real leaders, and being good in this. So luckily, I don't think that these bad commanders are even 50% of our army, because the other 50% are really good people. Because I hear it. I hear from the soldiers, some of the call signs I was already mentioning today on the stream, but they say that their new commanders are very good if they are changing unit, if they're able to do it, and they really care about them. And you remember the positive experience when I told you that the drone team will now have 2 riflemen with them, or a machine gunner and a rifleman in one of the brigades. So it's an opposite experience. So not everything that bad. When I'm talking about these problems, it's just because without fixing those problems, we cannot really win this war. Like, no way, because we have much less people. And the SSCR rate, there was a statistics given give me a second, it was Sternenko who was quoting that. And that guy, I think I should have it here. I'll find it quickly. So we had almost 7,000 cases of SSCR and desertion in 2022, but then it started growing exponentially. And this year, in just 7 months, we already have 110,000 cases. It's crazy. Like, comparing to 6,000 cases in the beginning of the full-scale invasion. Of course, not all of those cases are, because of the bad decisions of the commanders. Some soldiers really leave because they cannot either bear it anymore, maybe psychologically, right? Because this is also a very big pressure, psychological pressure.
It's also fear, bro.
It's fair.
Yeah.
Like my missus, like where she works, like, I'm not going to say where or anything like that, but like, it's a hostel, and a lot of guys that are like, that go like AWOL, or like, as you know, it's SSCR.
Mm-hmm.
They go to the hostels and they hide in the hostels, and it's like they'll sit there and tell you like they're just scared.
Mm-hmm.
Which, and it's like, I get it, like, I'm scared too, bro, but it's like, some of these guys, it's like they can't overcome that fear, and I get it. It's like, okay, fair enough, but it's like, a lot of them, that they don't sit there and say, oh, I was mistreated or anything like that. A lot of them just go, fuck that is terrifying, like, and it's like, okay, fair enough, like, at least you're honest.
Yeah, you're right.
I think there's one thing that we have to think about here is, throughout the war, we've made some decisions that we've had to make that have put a lot of guys' lives. I'm just trying to say this in a politically correct way. Some of the operations and things that we've done could have been done a little better. And these soldiers, let me tell you something, working with these guys, the instructors talk to other instructors. They talk to the students. They tell stories about past operations or events or things like that. And those things reciprocate. And when you have a lack of hope, right? Because I heard it a couple of times with some of the guys, they're like, well, we had one student. He's like, why are we even learning this? He's like, a minute when I get up to the front line, I'm going to get killed anyway. And I, we had to like pull this guy aside and like try to give him hope. But throughout this, the decisions that are made by the military have reciprocating effects. And if these guys don't have hope that like we can pull off some kind of victory or we can actually like do something big or stuff like that, it starts taking away from the morale of the guys. And I think that's one of the reasons why there's a problem with guys leaving or deserting the Army, is because they just don't believe, some of the guys just don't believe that either victory's in sight, or that they're going to be treated fairly on the front, or they're going to be able to rotate out, or you get my point. It's a much larger issue, in my opinion, than most people make it out to be. It's not these guys being cowards. It's they're looking at the holistic situation of the entire war, and
Yeah, and
it
they
all
don't,
consequences.
they are not sure that they will be protected in the Army, right? So they have a negative experience themselves, or they have seen it, and like the general atmosphere in the Army, right? The general, unfortunately, maybe the principals that are working there right now, they don't give them that much hope, especially, the problem is there are some units, some specific units that receive the most mobilized conscripted guys, and usually those units don't have good reputation. Usually units with good reputation, they don't get that many mobilized. They do recruiting, and a lot of mobilized guys are ending up in the brigades where they are not very taken care of, let's put it this way, like a lot of times. And that's where this attitude comes from. Not attitude, but kind of, I'm just trying to find the words, being tired at almost 1 a.m. here. But yeah, it's all that. But guys, I got one more donation, $22. I think we already discussed a lot about this one, and of course, if you think that some very important point should be added, tell me now. And
I think there's one way to curb this AWOL thing, and it's very simple. You have to give these soldiers the hope that they can win. You have to give them the and hope comes many different ways. Hope, encouragement, but one thing is you have to show these guys that we can pull out these victories, and with victory comes dedication.
mm-hmm.
And if we can show these guys, or we can pull out some victories, and we can actually like succeed, you'll have a lot more people that are much more dedicated to the cause. And that's the thing right now. A lot of these guys are just having a hard time seeing that. So that's what I'd say about that.
Bradley, it's actually pretty valuable, your experience, since you train them all the time. You can feel, the overall morale there,
Mm-hmm.
and you're kind of, very, you're dealing with this much. So thank you for sharing that. How, no matter how horrible the truth is, we prefer it here, and I like to see you being on the same page, if I may say, in this case, as us. Fuzzy, what do you think?
So, with me, I'm the I'm fucking biased, bro. Like for me, like I'm all about the blokes. I am like the way I see it, right, is if you're not like, it's not a very professional way of looking at it, but it's like the way I do look at it. It's like if you're not going out on the ground, then shut the fuck up, bro. Like, but obviously, like that's not the way it works. Like, obviously, your orders come from above, and like you do your orders, and like you get on with it. But I'm all about the blokes, so it's like if the blokes sit there and say to me, "Fuzz, mate, I'm not comfortable with that," it's like, right, okay, then. Well, what do you want to do? And you know, we'll try and work it. You know, but for me, it's morale is a massive thing, and there is a massive issue with it at the moment. You know, like I know some guys, and they're like their pay is so far gone, like not gone, but like it's so late. Like I know guys that are owed combat pay from like fucking January, like their little bonus for going to the front, and they're not getting it yet. And that obviously affects morale. If you do the work, you expect the wage, didn't you? But it's also other things as well. For example, like when you go to a position, it's like, right, I'm here now. What is the mission objective? Why am I here? What is the purpose of me being here? And if blokes don't feel like they have a purpose, they're just there for the sake of being there, that affects morale, you know. And it's like, I don't know, for me personally, I think the minute we start getting morale up again and people's motivation comes back, it will be so much better. But what I also want to start seeing is these younger generation officers coming in, because every time I've encountered under an officer under the age of fucking 50 or 60, I have had a better interaction, right? Because they listen to what you have to say, and then they'll explain their part, and then you've come to some form of like mutual decision on how like the best way to achieve the outcome or goal. You know, I want to start seeing the younger generation of Ukraine joining the army. I also want to stop seeing, because you see it, right? The Ukrainians, they don't talk about the good things, like the wins and stuff like that, unless it's a massive win. It's all negative, and it's there like, hang on a fucking minute, think about this, think about that, you know. And it's there like, yeah, but my friend told me, that this is happening, and it's there like, yeah, bro, but like, where, like, was your friend a volunteer, or like was he like dragged off the street by fucking, I don't know,
That's a car.
Tusaka? Yeah, like who is he? Oh yeah, he was thrown in the back of a van, so he's already fucking pissed off with the army anyway. Like he's not gonna give you like, I'm not saying he's lying, he might be telling the truth, but it's going to be very biased information, and he might not be telling you the full story as to what's going on. But this is why I want to start seeing the younger generation coming into the army in Ukraine. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm only 26, right? I've got the body of a fucking 50-year-old. I'm fucked. But it's like, the minute we start bringing in these younger generation, these officers that are like, you know, like 20, 25, stuff like that, right? They haven't been brought up with this fucking Soviet mindset, you know. I also want to start seeing these officers like coming from the big cities like Kyiv and Lviv and Odessa and, you know, all these major big cities, because they're like the ones with like, I'm going to say it, fuck it, but with the better education system, because they live in like major cities, you know. What I don't want to keep seeing is guys that have like just turned up and gone, yeah, I was an officer like in like fucking 2010, and they go, fuck it, yeah, like be an officer again, bro, because I've seen that, and it was like, what the fuck are you doing? You know, like I've even seen a guy, right? I hadn't like, and the reason I say this, Rick, right? Please, like, just listen to this. I had a fucking Ukrainian officer come over to me once, and this was in 2023, early 23, late 22. Say to me, the way we dictate how a soldier is by the color of his eyes, right? And I was like, well, what do you mean? So apparently, for example, if you have brown eyes, that means you are very intelligent and have a high IQ. So you should work in like communications and shit. And I've got blue eyes, right? So that means that fucking I'm a warrior and I can do this and I can do that. But it also means I'm very intelligent with like numbers and stuff. And I was there like, bro, I can't even count to 10 on a good day. Shut up. Right? I don't want to see that anymore. And he was like a lieutenant colonel, for fuck's sake. And then he also told me as well, when he done his special forces selection, he had to jump out a moving car at 50 kilometers an hour. And if he broke a limb, he failed. And I was like, well, that's just fucking retarded. Like, and bearing in mind, I had a young officer, right? He wasn't young, like, he was a captain. He was like 35 years old or something like that. Been in the army like 10 years or whatever. You know, he sat there looking at me like, just like, and this officer sat there dictating by the colours of people's eyes. Obviously, he didn't speak a lick of English. He just spoke pure Russian. This officer was sat there looking at me going, please don't believe that. Please don't believe that. And then I'm like, bro, I don't. But yeah, no, like, I want to see that shit gone. Like, get to fuck. No more of that, please. Fuck. Yeah. But to be fair, like, that story did bring up morale, because we all sat there looking at him like, you are fucking mental, mate. Like, he is straight out of like the Netflix series The Witcher. Like, what the fuck?
When I heard it, it sounded like the Nazi Germany to me when they were measuring the skull, and all that shit.
Honestly, bro, like, he was ancient, bro. Like, this bastard cough, like, he literally went, and I watched the dust come out of his mouth. Like, he was fucked, right? And it was like, as he was smoking a Marlboro Red, he was lighting the next one with like the current cigarette, and then like flicking that one, and then putting the new one in his mouth. Like, this guy was fucked, bro. And I think the only good thing, like, he needs like a medal for the amount of cigarettes he could smoke in a minute. Like, this guy was fucking amazing. Like, when I was a smoker, I was actually jealous at the amount of fags he can consume in under a minute. Right? I was just there like, wow, I wish I could achieve that, because I'd never have to smoke again when I go home, will I? Because I'd have had my fix for the day. No, never mind, eh? Fucking. But yeah, like, get that gone. To be fair, that conversation raised morale. Yeah. Like,
That's very good.
fucking hell.
Ooh.
Just let it all out, man. Just let it all out.